Hey gamers, welcome to my game room. AJ from Rolling With Roc here. It's Friday, ROCtober 9th, and we are continuing the countdown to number 1 of my top 67 board games of all time with numbers 50 through 46. As always, just a reminder that these are my opinions on board games that I have played. There are many games out there that I'm sure are great that I just haven't had a chance to play yet, so I won't be able to rank those. If you think there's a game that's missing from these lists, go ahead and put it in the comments below. I will let you know if I've played it, and if you think I should try it if I haven't. Also, let me know what you think of these games I'm about to list in the comments that earns you an entry into Board Game Trick or Treat, the big Halloween giveaway at the end of ROCtober. Remember that there will be new ROCtober content right here on this YouTube channel Monday through Saturday through the rest of ROCtober, and then on Sunday nights at 9 p.m. Eastern over at twitch.tv/rollingwithroc, I will be streaming live board game content, and throughout the month I will be doing random other videos on my Twitch channel with games like Among Us, Fall Guys, and more. I want to thank everyone so far that's watched any of my ROCtober content. I really do appreciate it. I hope that you guys are enjoying this content. This has been a big endeavor for me so far, just 1 week in. With 3 weeks to go, I hope to really make it worth your while for sticking around for the whole month. And I would love to hear your comments on what I'm doing right, what I'm doing wrong, and what you would like to maybe see differently so far. So go ahead and put those in the comment below. That also counts as one entry for Board Game Trick or Treat. With all that out of the way, let's get right back into the top 67 board games of all time with number 50. Number 50 is a family weight game of card drafting and area control. That is Bunny Kingdom by Yellow Games. In Bunny Kingdom, you are a bunny lord who is putting out their colored bunnies, trying to control the most of the new world for the Bunny King. You do this by dealing cards at the beginning of the round, drafting 2 of those cards and passing them to the next player, doing so until all cards have been drafted by players, and then playing those cards, placing bunnies onto the board, getting cities, and then finally collecting carrots as resources. The game mechanisms are simple and easy to learn, but it has a really cool table presence. I really like the bunny meeples in this game. If you want to call them meeples, the figurines. Go ahead and get one out here. They're small, but really, really cute. So there is a yellow bunny. And of course, yellow would be my color, so there you go. And you've got these cool little city. You have 3 different levels of city. So that's going to be a city that you can have bunnies in. And then you have a bunch of cards. And some of those cards are like a grid. Some of those cards have powers. And overall, it is a fairly simple game. Like I said, it's not overly complicated, but it has a cool look to it. It has a cool mechanism with the grid system of the board being like 100 spaces and trying to control the most of that. And it's just fun to play and enjoy. It's not a long game. What's the box say? Box says 45 minutes. It's probably that to 60. So falls in my range. It falls in my weight range. It has a cute looking art style. I enjoy it. So in at number 50 is Bunny Kingdom from Yellow Games. Number 49. In at number 49, we have the Star-Spangled Rollin' Right, Rolling America. In Rolling America, this is a roll and write game, which means you will have a play board here, which is a sheet of paper that has a interesting take on the United States of America. Everything is blocked, but kind of looks like the states for the most part. Some odd shape choices on some of them, but overall the map makes sense. You can kind of tell what is each state. And then the other thing in the box is a little red cloth bag with 7 dice in them. 6 of these dice that you can see right there, oops, as I lose one, all these dice match up with the 6 sections of the United States of America on your play sheet. So what happens is you will draw 2 of those dice out of the bag and roll them, and then you have to write those 2 numbers, so say the 1 and the 3, in the appropriate color areas of your states. The trick is that as you start to build more and more of your states, the numbers have to be adjacent to each other, either 1 up, 1 down, or equal. I believe that's the rule. So you have to get your adjacencies right, and you can't be too high or too low on one end, or you can't actually roll numbers there. And if you pinch point in too high or too low on either side, then you're not going to be able to fill in that state. There's also a clear wild die that you can use for any of the colors, and there's a couple of different powers you can do. You can guard, duplicate, or change color, and that helps you kind of mitigate your losses just a little bit. It is a pretty quick game. It says 15 minutes on the box. That sounds about right. And I just enjoy it. I like rolling dice. It's in the name of my channel after all. But I believe, if I remember correctly, this might be the actual highest roll and write on my list. There's quite a few flip and writes left, but for actually rolling dice and then writing on a piece of paper, Rolling America is the highest on this list. And I do like this game a lot, and I think it's easy to get to the table at any time. It can definitely cause a little bit of thinkiness with, oh, where do I need to put this number? How am I going to make this fit? Is this going to be okay? But I really think the best way to play this game is just kind of start filling things in and have fun with it. Don't overthink it. Don't try to do too much too often. Just kind of start filling in numbers, and if it works out, great. And if it doesn't, just have fun playing. But anyway, that is Rolling America in at number 49. Number 48. In at number 48, we go from one of my latest games in my collection to one of the heaviest in Trajan from Stefan Feld. And this isn't generally a game that I would normally like. The weight complexity is higher than my normal liking for games, as you can already probably see from this list. But what gets Trajan onto this list specifically has a lot to do with its theming. Trajan is a game about Rome, and Rome is one of my favorite subjects in any setting, not just board games. And in this game, you have a nice little board here. I'll open up this board so you can kind of get an idea. You have this nice big board, and you have a bunch of stuff you can do on here. I don't know if you're seeing that, but you can do so many different actions on this thing. You can go war in the northern areas of the empire. You can do construction. You can go to the harbor. You have the forum here and the Senate. There's lots of stuff you can do in this game. But the really cool aspect of this is your player mat, which is this, and the action circle, which I believe some circles call this a rondelle, where you're going to have, at the very beginning of the game, you're going to have 2 colored cubes in each one of these. And then as you play, you're going to pick up all cubes in one of the circles and drop one in until you drop the last one. And then that decides what action you can take for that round. So you have to kind of manipulate your action circle to get the abilities that you want. And it is not an easy game to play, but I like the components. I like the art style is good for this game, I should say. So it's not a captivating art style, but it kind of gives you the sense of Rome, and kind of I like what it does for this game. I may not like it in a different game, but again, a big portion of my liking of this would be the Roman setting, but I really like everything that it does with all the different aspects of what I would feel like as if I was playing a board game about Rome. The game itself is heavy and a little long. So we don't play this often. But when I do play Trajan, I enjoy it. I just know it's not a game that I'm going to want to play over and over and over again. It's a game that I want to play here and there and be like, okay, I've played it for a little bit, now I don't have to play it for a little bit again. But in at number 48, that is Trajan. Number 47. In at number 47 is what, if I remember correctly, one of the two games that I first played when getting into the board game hobby over 10 years ago. It was between this and Ticket to Ride. I can't remember which one I actually played first, but it is, of course, the classic, The Settlers of Catan. This is the Settlers of Catan from Mayfair. More recently, there is just Catan from Catan Studios. This is the older version of the game. It's not the old version. I think they've had multiple printings. But, and especially when I talk about the Settlers of Catan, I am specifically referring to with Cities and Knights expansion. So I haven't really been talking about expansions too much along this list, but for me, Cities and Knights is an essential expansion for the Settlers of Catan. And I'll do a whole list on essential expansions, I'm sure. I think that's one of the things that I would actually really like to do, especially for the games that I own, because I think it's a much different list than what you will normally get from a lot of other reviewers out there, and I think it's always good to have different opinions on things. But Settlers of Catan, like I said, was one of my very first games that I played getting into the board game hobby. As a younger child, I was more of a video gamer than a board gamer. And then when I moved from Pennsylvania to Michigan and started living with my wife, she opened my eyes up to board games. And her friends and her would always have a board game night. So we went to board game night, and one of the games that we played was the Settlers of Catan. We played this game a lot. We've by far got our money's worth out of the Settlers of Catan. We have, I believe, most of the expansions, not like all the 5 and 6 player expansions, but most of like the base expansions for the Mayfair version of the game. And like I said, the one I like the most is the Cities and Knights. Seafarers is useful, and I like to play with it, but I can play with it or without it. I don't really like to play just base Catan without Cities and Knights anymore, because I really like the building aspect and the flipping of the little portfolio of cards that you kind of have there, and then the things that you get from that. It gives you a little bit extra thing to do in Catan once you're used to the normal game. And I'm probably, most people who are watching this video probably have played the Settlers of Catan. If you haven't, it is widely considered one of the most influential hobby board games of all time. Most players are able to pick the game up fairly easy. It doesn't take a lot to teach it, and it is fairly addictive. Like, a lot of people love this game right off the bat of playing it for the first time, and it brings people into the hobby. Like I said, it brought me into the hobby, and you can see where I am now. So at number 47, we have the Settlers of Catan. Number 46. In at number 46, we have a card game about deduction based on an IP that I love, J.R.R. Tolkien's The Lord of the Rings, or more specifically, The Hobbit, The Battle of the Five Armies, Love Letter. And this is it's a very light game. It's just a pack of cards and then a couple little gems they give you to take at the end of the round. And it's based off of the hit game Love Letter. But instead of your normal card characters that you would have in Love Letter, of course they've made a ton of different variants of Love Letter. All the characters in this game are based off of the movie The Hobbit, The Battle of the Five Armies, which is the third in the trilogy of The Hobbit, which was a prequel to The Lord of the Rings. And so you have characters like Bilbo Baggins and Gandalf the Grey, Smaug the Dragon. The top card in this game is the Arkenstone. And this game, unlike some other versions of Love Letter, actually has a 0, and that is the One Ring. The One Ring is a 0 during the game, but if you have it at the end, it counts as a 7, so it's like the second best card in the game. And you just have, it has like little powers, like Gandalf is your protection, so you can't be attacked for a turn when you have Gandalf. It is a very light game, but the reason this game makes this list is just for the sheer amount of plays that we've gotten from it. It's really kind of hard to get it to come through on the camera there, but we have played this game so much that the art is coming off. Now, some people would sleeve, games, but for how little this game was, it wasn't really worth sleeving. But we've definitely got our money's worth. We definitely have played this game a ton, and we do own a second copy of it that we have sleeved. So this copy's okay. We have a second copy sleeved, and that one won't be damaged. But this is our filler game. This is the game that at the end of game nights, before we're done, we're ready to call it quits, we play a quick round of this because it's fast, it's fun. It's one of the few games where we, it's not really attacking each other, but you do player elimination. And most of the time in my game group, we do not like player elimination. It just doesn't really sit well with us. A lot of other game groups, perfectly fine. They love it. For us, we don't really do player elimination. But for whatever reason, just in something simple like Love Letter, or in this case, Love Letter of the Hobbit, Battle of the Five Armies, it is acceptable and it doesn't bother us as much, just probably because we have played this game so much. We've kind of, we have a really good understanding of the cards and what to ask and who might have what and tells. And we really, I wouldn't say we metagame it, but we've played it so much that we really get used to how each other plays. So then when somebody mixes it up and plays it a little bit differently, or might keep a card that they normally wouldn't keep, it makes the game fun again. This game is really, really good. Love Letter itself, I've actually never played just Love Letter. This is the only version of Love Letter I've ever played before. I know it's basically the same game with, I think the One Ring is really the only change. I am looking forward to receiving Infinity Gauntlet, which is a Love Letter game based in the Marvel Universe. I have that on pre-order. It just hasn't been delivered yet because there's other games that haven't met their release date yet on that order. And I'm excited to see the differences between that game and this game, because I know, unlike this game, which is very close to regular Love Letter, that game is more of a one versus all game, just inspired by Love Letter. So I'm kind of excited to see the differences, especially since I love both Marvel and The Lord of the Rings, or in this case, The Hobbit. But again, in at number 46, and rounding out the list for today, is Love Letter, The Hobbit, The Battle of the Five Armies. Just to give you a quick recap of the video, in at number 50 was Budding Kingdoms, 49 was Rolling America, 48 was Trajan, 47, The Settlers of Catan, and 46, Love Letter, The Hobbit, The Battle of the Five Armies. Thank you very much for watching this installment of my top 67 board games of all time. Tomorrow morning is Saturday Mornings with Remy and Roc, where we will be unboxing Building Site, a new My Very First Games series game from Haba. Then on Sunday night on my Twitch channel at 9 p.m., I'll be streaming some sort of board game content. And then we'll start back up with the top 67 board games of all time, numbers 45 through 41, on Monday right here back on YouTube. Remember, if you want to enter Board Game Trick or Treat, all you have to do is subscribe to this YouTube channel and leave a comment on any video that enters you in one entry into Board Game Trick or Treat. Every video you enter a comment that is labeled ROCtober. At the end of ROCtober, we'll go ahead and do a nice little giveaway for Board Game Trick or Treat. And I hope you guys are enjoying my content here in ROCtober. Go ahead and let me know what you like, what you did dislike, what you would like to see, and what you think I can do to improve. Please go ahead and like this video if you are digging ROCtober, and please share this video with your board game friends. There is a ton of board game content out there. I know there's so much that you guys can choose, so watching this, I greatly appreciate it, and I would love to see if your friends would like this content too. So if you could go ahead and share it with them, it would mean the absolute world to me. Thank you all for watching. We'll see you again tomorrow morning for more ROCtober. This was AJ from Rolling with Roc.